Hi, welcome back to our leadership articles from Beyond the Numbers. As mentioned before in some of the videos, we've had requests for different articles to be explained, and through either coaching sessions or from some of our workshops. And so this is one that keeps coming up. It's around emotional intelligence, and there's a lot of really good material out there on emotional intelligence. So the context I'll use for this discussion is around about what can I as a leader get out of this understanding, and how do I apply that? So just very quickly, I've put it up, and there's a number of different models out there to explain emotional intelligence, but I find this one quite helpful because it sort of breaks it down into what I see, so what I observe as I'm interacting, and then what I do as a result of that. And this is the value of emotional intelligence. It sets us up with some fundamental approaches, if you like. So one of them is around our self-management. And if we can manage ourselves in some of the complex situations we find ourselves in, we generally experience better outcomes. So self-management is really critically important in a leadership role, and the more complexity and the more challenge and the more time poor that situation is, the more power you're going to get out of establishing and building your own emotional intelligence. So self-management, and of course the other big one is around relationship management. Being able to sustain a relationship over time and to leverage from each other in that relationship is a huge thing. So it can be from advocacy, so supporting each other in what we do and how we do it, etc., through to just being able to get the best, establish a really good relationship with somebody that over time will lead to great outcomes for both parties. So the other side, so that's what we call on the what I do. So the way I manage that, and then I'll reap the rewards. How I establish those relationships, sustain them over time, that's what I do, and I'll reap the rewards. But on this side, it's what I see. Now, have you ever come across people that you have an understanding through their behaviour as they're situational, that they lack situational awareness? So in a given situation, they can't see the writing on the wall. They don't pick up on the body language. They don't pick up on the subtle messages that people are sending. Probably a really obvious one that you might think of is those people that don't respect our physical space. So they'll walk right up to you, and you don't even know them, and they'll stand right in your space and address you because they lack the awareness that may not work for you. They haven't tested that assumption about what is your physical space. So having self-awareness is really critical. So in leadership, I talk with leaders about the idea of when you observe something and you think, oh, that's not right, I need to intervene. I always say to them, start by putting up a mirror. Assess, did I actually see what I actually saw? Am I interpreting it? Get it clear in your head before you go and engage with somebody. What's the purpose of your engagement? I want to establish with what I saw actually happened and the context that I saw it happening, and then find out what somebody is, how they would explain the situation. So don't just jump to conclusions, because from their frame it could be a perfectly logical thing to do, but we might want to reframe that and get a better outcome. So self-awareness is really important. Social awareness is that step around what's going on around us that's impacting on the situation. Now, typically for leaders, it's the situation around the culture. What's culturally the norms going on in this organisation? Because people do respond to norms. And if those norms aren't aligned with where the business goes, then leadership's got work to do to realign those to become new norms that align. So aware of what's going on in that environment, our social environment, is a huge step up. So I suppose you'd think of these things, if you look across the lines, we're talking about our personal competence, our ability to be self-aware and to self-manage, versus social competence, which is being able to operate in a socially aware way to maximise the interactions in that social environment and also maintain and sustain relationships over time. So why do we do this? The benefits are huge. Research has shown that people never really fully establish their full credibility in terms of their role potential if they don't also develop emotional intelligence along the way. For obvious reasons, being able to manage yourself, build great relationships, be aware of what's happening for you, how am I responding to the situation versus how am I responding in this situation. So do some research on this. It's really valuable stuff. There are many clues about how you can develop emotional intelligence. I wish you well on your quest.